Hello, my name's Cameron Scarradigan and welcome to another episode of Cam's Camera Talk. Every cinema trip involves me getting a large drink. It's all part of the cinema experience for me. And every film, without fail, I have to go to the bathroom. Out of all the films that I've watched recently, why did the film that I didn't need to go to the bathroom in have to be this one? But anyway, you're not here to hear about my bladder control. You're here to hear about Transporter Refueled. Here it is. Right, where do I start with this one? Right, so back in 2002, Jason Statham made a film called Transporter. And that film had relative amount of success and managed to spawn 2 sequels from it. So EuropaCorp decided that they could still milk some money from this franchise, so now we have Transporter Refueled. Now Transporter Refueled is a reboot or an origin. I mean, it really doesn't matter. Ed Skrein plays Frank Martin Jr. and Ray Stevenson plays Frank Martin Sr. But I'm just going to call them what they really are. So you've got the main character played by knockoff Nicholas Hoult, you've got his dad, and just a bunch of actors portraying angry Russians. In my Man from U.N.C.L.E. review, I said that Armie Hammer's character was sort of the stereotypical Russian. I take that back. In this film, these are the stereotypical Russians. Holy shit, I've talked about bad guys just being there for the sake of being bad guys in films before, but it's never been as apparent as in this one. There's no real motivation, there's no real inspiration, just there to look angry and shoot people. Also, they all seem to be accompanied by half-naked dancing women and trance music. Literally, anytime you hear trance music in this film, you're about to be shown a bad guy. I mean, the trailer for this film didn't really fill me with much hope. I mean, it's just action followed by one-liners. And to be fair, that's pretty accurate for the film it's portraying. Also in the trailer, you get a little caption which pops up saying, "From the producers of the Taken trilogy." That's kind of like bragging about the fact you have gonorrhea when trying to chat up a girl. It's just not a good thing. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'll give it its dues. Taken 1 was a very good film, it was fun, it was something a little bit new. But Taken 2 and 3, they were just poor excuses for films. This film starts out and it's just action scenes and you're like, yeah, this is okay, but I kind of want some dialogue now. Then you finally get some dialogue and you're like, this is really shit. Give me more action. And then you get more action and the action just gets repetitive and it gets boring and you want more dialogue and you want a story, but this film isn't giving you any of that. I mean, this was a messy film. I mean, basically this film is about knockoff Nicholas Hoult just trying to save his dad. That's pretty much the main story, if you can even call it a story. And you can tell the film was really trying to make you care about their chemistry as father and son. But when I was kind of hoping for the dad to die so that I could go home early, you know the film's failed in its objective. I mean, this film is so sloppy, it treats the audience as if we're children, which would be fine if this film was actually aimed at children. But it's not. The thing is rated 15, so it must just assume we're idiots. I mean, an example of this is right at the beginning of the film. One of the bad guys is wearing a little necklace, which is a symbol, and the symbol is a sword with a snake wrapped around it over a heart. It's pretty unique. It makes a point to highlight this symbol so that the audience knows this is the bad guy's mark. 2 minutes later in the film, we skip forward several years and you see this mark on a set of double doors. We go inside the room and we see several characters and it feels a need to show us flashbacks of them from the scene 2 minutes ago, like we'd forgotten what happened. Unfortunately, it's not that easy to forget about what happens in this film. Usually I just keep explaining flaws and positives in the narrative of the story. But unfortunately for me, this film doesn't really have a story, so that's kind of difficult to do. So instead I'm just going to list some really stupid shit which happens in this film. The transporter's dad goes to buy a bottle of wine at the start of the film, and the salesman was like, "Ooh, it's an expensive bottle of wine, that, €900. Let me show you where the cheaper ones are." I was like, you're the shittest salesman ever, who just makes an assumption like that? At one point there's just a random lesbian kiss in there. The characters aren't portrayed as being lesbians up until this point. Doesn't pay off later in the story. You could tell the writers were just like, "Hey Dave, you know what we've not got in here yet?" "What, mate?" "A lesbian scene." Get one in there. Cool. Does it matter that it doesn't flow with the little story that we have or is relevant in any way? Nah, this film's already a piece of shit, we may as well give up on it now. At the very start of this film, 6 guys tried to steal a 5-seater car armed with knives, guns and a taser. I can't help but feel that no one would be armed this heavily to steal one car. At one point in this film, the transporter claims he needs to swap cars to be unrecognised, so he swaps cars from a dark Audi to a slightly less dark Audi. Same make, same model. There was just this one scene which was just so abysmal. The transporter puts the car in like first gear, so it's rolling at about 2 miles an hour towards a gate while he gets out and kicks some ass. The girls that are in the car are reacting as if they're going about 50 miles an hour heading towards a brick wall, when literally they're rolling slowly towards a gate. It's hard to explain in words how ridiculous this scene is, but the fear was so unnecessary. I mean, most of the action in this film is filmed using this sort of weird circling camera movement or just shaky cam, which I absolutely hate. I don't see the point in it. What's the point of filming an action scene and then filming it so that you can barely see what's going on? For as bad as the action in this film is, somehow the acting is even worse. I mean, someone needs to tell a lot of these actors that acting requires you to do more than just read your lines out loud. I mean, credit where it's due, Knock Off Nicholas Hoult and his dad really try to make this film decent, and their acting is okay, but it's not like their performances were anything special, they just served the part well enough. At the end of the day, this film is boring as shit. I check my phone like every 5 minutes. I mean, the Fantastic Four was bad, but I didn't feel the need to check my phone because I was watching it sort of like a car crash. I mean, it's really bad, but you can't help yourself to just look at it and see what's going on. However, I can't even compare Transporter Refueled to a car crash. I think the closest thing I can compare this to is a piece of shit on the path. You don't like seeing it, you don't like the fact it's there, so you just cross over the road, walk a little bit and then cross back over. All that being said, I cannot give the Transporter Refueled any more than a 4 out of 10. Anyway, hope you've liked what I've brought for you today. If you have, feel free to like, comment and subscribe. Also follow me on Twitter at CamsCameraTalk. Thank you for watching and I will see you later. This is more of an indie film, so it doesn't really conform to the usual filmmaking techniques that Hollywood films do. It has a little bit